I'm going to show you how to disassemble a lens assembly on a Canon A2300 camera. As you can see, this lens is supposed to be in here straight across like this, and the Canon zoom lens is supposed to be on the top. So this has been dropped or somebody twisted the front end. Hopefully that we can take this apart and straighten this out again, and because the pins on the front lens carrier are real short and they sometimes jump out of their tracking grooves, and maybe that's the only problem we have with this. Otherwise we're gonna have to replace some parts in here, but I'm going to show you how to take this apart. And first of all, we're going to take the top cover off, and there's a little tab over here on the right hand side, and you want to use a little screwdriver just to pop these off, and only bring them up far enough so that you can release a clip, because they're very fragile. So rotate this up and then pull it off to the front like that, and lay it off to on your screw guide sheet. Now we have 4 other clips on here, 5 other clips on this and I like to start with the ones on the right, looking at it from the back, orienting from the back. The right ones are these 2 clips right here, and so we're going to pop this up, and like I say, just lift these up far enough to release them off their tabs, because they're very fragile. And so you want to just get them up far enough. Now then there's another one that's, you can see after we remove the top cover right here, and we're going to just pry that up far enough to get it released here. I don't know why Canon went with these clips on this camera, but they're actually a little handier than having to unscrew all the screws, but they're also a little more fragile. So okay, that's the one on top. Then we have one more on the left here, and I wouldn't use your thumbnail to take these off, because you'll probably break them. And then we have one on the bottom here. So once we get all these clips released, okay, you can see the top cover kind of popped up a little bit, but we can rotate this off to the side right now. But since we're going to be working on it, we want to remove the aperture cable from the top of the lens motor cover here, lens extender motor cover, and so we're going to pry it off its 2 pins here. And it's held in place by these 2 little pins and also a little piece of sticky tape. So you want to be fairly careful not to rip these ribbon cables, so do everything very gently. And then there's 2 little clip tabs here. We have to get, now that we have all the clips released from the back of the lens housing here, we can lift and rotate this back plate up and kind of rotate it off to our right here. Now you can see this aperture cable is on a little tab here, and also a little pin here. Make sure when you put this back together that this tab is on this pin, because otherwise you won't be able to get it in place after, because this slotted clip fits over that cable. And if you put the back plate on first, you'll pinch that cable and you might even damage it. So okay, we got to pop this clip off here. Now we have worm gear we can take out and set that off on our screw guide sheet, and we have a pinion gear. Now this pinion gear has two different ends on it. One is a end has a little rounded end on it. The other end has a flat end on it. Now, so when you put this back together again, depending on which way you're putting the pinion in, I like to put it in the back plate, or I mean in the front lens housing here, and set the worm gear in its little slot here, and then rotate the pinion. So this end with the square end goes into the back plate, and the end with the round end the end with the square end goes into the front housing, and the round end goes into the back plate. So it's okay. Now what we want to do is rotate this, take our either fingernail or a little screwdriver and rotate this in the clockwise direction as far as we can go here. And when we do that, you can see that this housing pops up a little bit. That releases it from its tracking grooves here, so we can push the whole assembly out then. And once we get that whole assembly to pop up, we can push this out from the front lens housing and lay that off to the side. Now we can lift out our sleeve and our aperture, and so we can just lift this out directly here once we get it lined up with our grooves here. Okay, there's our release grooves right there. And so you can see that everything is loose once we get it lined up with our release grooves. So I like to lift the sleeve out and then lift the aperture assembly out. Okay, now you can see the sleeve has two little tabs on it. When you reassemble this, those two little tabs go over underneath the aperture cable. They're little rub tabs there. And also on the secondary extender ring, on the indexing sleeve, there's a little tab here, and that goes under the aperture cable. So we're going to take these apart in succession here. I'm going to take this sleeve out of here, and the front lens carrier and the secondary extender ring. Okay, that'll all just lift out of there like that. And this little tab here goes under our aperture cable when we go to reassemble it. So next thing we can do is pop our secondary extender ring out of our indexing sleeve here, and then our front lens carrier out of our secondary extender ring. Okay, and that's the disassembly of it. We're going to inspect it and replace all the parts that need to be replaced, and then reassemble it, and I'll have a video on that as soon as I get this ready to put back together again.